Step by step on business. That's on my mama, watch me spin on me and split, now I can't feel it. We in the trap, we sold the city on my biddy. Take these diamonds off and show you how we lit it.
Welcome back to another episode of Before the Horn podcast. This is episode 57. As you know, I am your host, Khalil. With me, as always, I got my guy, Dawn.
Yes, sir, Ski. We back. Let's get it.
Listen. So it's been a great weekend. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about what happened in the Final Four in a women's matchup. We got to talk about Dawn Staley winning her second championship in 3 years and her third overall. Where does this put her in the GOAT conversation against the other coaches, against the other great coaches within the women's game, as well as talk about Coach Calipari moving from Arkansas to Kentucky, give our reactions on that, our thoughts and opinions. And as always, we got to talk NBA basketball around the Hardwood. There's been some big games going on. We definitely got to discuss all that. But before we get into anything, you want to tell people what happened, man? You want to tell the people what happened, or do I?
We can just wait till we get to that segment. Let's wait till we get to that segment. All right. I'm not going to embarrass myself too early on in the video.
All right. But as you know, we always kick it off with basketball first. So we go around the Hardwood. They want to take it away.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 57. Let's get right into it. We're going to jump back to April 4th, which is this past Thursday. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers defeating the Denver Nuggets by 2 points as they defeated the Nuggets 102-100. Paul George scored 28 points and James Harden added 20.
This was a big game for the Clippers to come out and win. Two teams that's missing one of their premier players. Clippers is missing Kawhi Leonard for the second straight game. Jamal Murray's been out as well, so Nuggets are down Jamal Murray. So it's kind of an even head-to-head matchup. But this was a big win for a Clippers team who was struggling, who lost 5 games before this game, and found themselves down by as much as 17 points early in this ball game, and they found a way to come back and win this game. Paul George, like you said, was phenomenal with 28 points. He with James Harden also chipping in with 20 as well. You also got 12 and 11 off the bench from Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell, which is major as well to get bench points. PJ Tucker didn't really add anything. He's out there for cardio. I don't know what he's doing, but this is a big win for a team that's struggling. And I mean, Jokic showed up. Jokic did what he had to do. I mean, he did. I feel like every time we talk about the Nuggets, we talk about another phenomenal performance by Jokic. And this one, he had 36 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists. Nobody else got into 20 points. Aaron Gordon chipped in with 18 points. Kentavious Caldwell also chipped in with 16 points. Michael Porter Jr. also had 15. But they essentially got nothing from their bench. Only 9 points off their bench with Christian Brown scoring 7 of those, and the other 2 come from Pat Watson. I think that's the biggest issue right now, and I'm still high on the Nuggets because I think once Jamal Murray come back and this team, are at full strength and they do what they got to do, they're one of the best executing teams, especially in the fourth quarter late in ball games with Jamal Murray and Jokic playing the 2-man game. But I'm not going to lie, right now their bench production has not been what I want it to be, or what it has been last season when you have Bruce Brown coming off the bench and stuff and players like that. I think, I'm not going to say that they're going to 100% miss Bruce Brown, but they're looking for somebody to pick up where he left off. And Christian Brown, he showed some flashes, don't get me wrong, but I think they just need a little bit more, somebody else to come along with them. Granted, Reggie Jackson will be coming off the bench, so maybe you could get a little bit more from him because he really essentially didn't give you too much within the starting lineup. Only 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. I think he's better off running that second unit and being an energy guy. I think that's where him and Christian Brown's going to succeed the most. But I'm not going to lie, the bench kind of did worry me. But this is a big win for a Clippers team who has had their ups and downs and has been struggling. But they can find a way to get the win without Kawhi Leonard in the lineup.
Honestly, overall, this game, after as much lately as I've been trashing on the Clippers, they actually played a solid game. Now, like Khalil also said, Denver's bench has been very disappointing lately. And Jamal Murray was out this game, but he later does come back. Jokic can't be the only one going crazy. You need more production on offense, especially in start lineup. Reggie Jackson, this game shows why he belongs on the bench. He would never be a starting player, in my opinion, in the league ever again. He's just not that good. He's a good bench player, but he's not a good starting lineup player. For the Clippers, this game was shaky. They had a lead, and the Nuggets brought it down, and it really came down to the last possession. And surprisingly, PJ Tucker, who was benched earlier, came back in on the final possession and defended Jokic very, very well to prevent Nikola Jokic from making that game-winning three-point shot. So, good game by the Clippers. Paul George almost exploded for 30. Harden, good job by adding 20. Westbrook added 12 off the bench. Norman Powell added 11 off the bench. Overall, great win, but the Clippers got to learn how to maintain leads. That's all I have to say about this game. All right, let's move to Saturday's game. We saw the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 116-97, led by D'Lo's 28 points. LeBron also added 24.
The Lakers are playing their best basketball at the right time. And, I mentioned this a couple of times with certain teams that you have to be peaking at the right time, and this team is starting to come together at the right time. Ever since the trade deadline, D'Lo has been balling. Part of it, I think, is because he knew he wasn't going to get traded after the trade deadline because there was a lot of talks about them moving him. Once that passed, I feel like he relaxed a little bit. And I think the biggest thing is that LeBron kind of embraced him to let D'Lo play his game, because we've seen it a few times with D'Lo struggle and LeBron tell him, keep going, keep shooting, keep being you. And, I think it's starting to wear off in like certain situations like this where he comes out and be your leading scorer, scoring 28 points. LeBron also adds 24 points as well. AD has a phenomenal game, 22 and 13. He's been very solid all year.
Yeah,
and I think that's
I'm gonna give him his credit.
And this team and the Lakers are right there pushing for that A spot. That's where you want to be, 7 or 8, just in case you lose that first play-in game. You still got another one. You don't want to be a team that have to win 2 games. I think the Lakers could do it. I think whoever they match up against will be a good matchup. But it'd be better if you could get into that 7 and 8 spot, have a little leeway, because you never know what could happen in a single game. We talked about it before. If they're that nice spot, you're going to be playing the Warriors. Stephen Clay could get hot at any time. If you're in that if you're in that 8 spot, you probably get the Suns, the Kings, or the Pelicans. Wherever the chips may fall. But if I speak for myself, I think I like their kind of matchups with those teams a little bit more. Maybe not the Suns so much when you got 2 guys like Devin Booker and KD we watch them go for 40 in playoff games a lot. But this is a big win for a surging Lakers team that's hitting their stride at the right point.
I couldn't have said any better. D'Lo's a player that has his highs and his lows, but when he has his highs, he's gonna play great. We've seen it at many moments in this past year. Some games he go really crazy. Other games he's like, bro, why is this guy playing right now? And I say that a lot about D'Lo, and I like watching D'Lo play. But like you mentioned, trade deadline D'Lo, this man been on a different tear. He knew the Lakers were gonna move him. Trade deadline D'Lo. Hey, I seen it on Instagram. Don't blame me. I stole it from somebody on the gram. But ever since the trade deadline, D'Lo been doing his thing. I can't even lie. And this is what you need from a Lakers team. Now, Austin Reeves does need to drop more than 7. Rui Hachimura, again, another player that has his highs and lows. Thank goodness that this game was already a blowout. And then for the Cavs, at one point, they were a top 3 team in the East. Then they just kind of like trickled down a little bit. But this Cavs team, I don't really think they're going to do damage in the playoffs. But a team to worry about, and Kendrick Perkins said this as well, the Lakers are a team to watch out for in the playoffs. Y'all better wake up. The Lake Show is coming.
Yeah, and I think what people forget sometimes that D'Lo was an all-star at a point, and he was a second overall pick as well. Like, he has the talent and the ability, and we've seen it before. Him take over games and be the deciding factor. And I think what can make the Lakers team a very scary team in the playoffs is if D'Lo is firmly your third option, or even some games he might be the first or second, but if you know what you're gonna get out of AD and LeBron, and if D'Lo is hitting his shots and doing what he has to do and being aggressive, Lakers could be a scary out, and they could be the biggest threat to the Nuggets. Who knows?
Most def. All right, let's move on to Sunday. We have 3 crazy games to talk about on Sunday, but we're gonna kick it off first with an overtime game as the Dallas Mavericks defeated the Houston Rockets 147-136, led by Kyrie Irving's 48-piece McNugget.
And this is why I tell you that this team can be so scary, because you got 2 players that are pure bucket getters with Kyrie and Luka. And Kyrie, he's second to none when it comes to the offense side of the game. He can score from all levels. He can get his shot off anywhere. He's one of the best finishing guards that I've seen, not being a dunker, just finishing around the rim. He kisses off the glass with either hand. He's a magician when it comes to that. You kind of know what you're going to get out of Luka. Luka was very solid, 37, 12, and 9 as well. But that Luka's going to be that guy. He's going to show up and he's going to do what he has to do. The biggest question is, who's going to come along with them? Who's going to help them out in this game? They didn't really need nobody, but you had PJ Washington chip in 14. You had Dante Exum off the bench also chips in 14, and they're doing this without Derek Lively, who is somebody I've been very big on, who I think is going to create a big impact for this team, especially in the playoff. I get he's a young guy, he's a rookie, but he's 7'2", and he can rebound and he can block shots, and I think that's going to be a very, very big key thing for this team. Is can the other guys just defend and rebound? If the other guys can defend and rebound and hit open shots, I'm sorry, this Mavs team is going to be a dangerous team, because if Kyrie and Luka got it going, like, they're second to none in tandems when we talk about putting the basketball in the hoop. So, like, this is a big game for them. As far as the Rockets, man, following an 11-game win streak, they went 0-5 and they're now out of the play-in. They're officially out, so that means the Warriors are in. I'm not gonna lie, I was wrong. I can admit it when I am wrong. No hate here, but this team.
Don't throw shade. Don't throw shade. That sounded type shady. That sounded shady. It got dark in here. It got dark in here. I'm making sure. I'm making sure real quick.
It's the eclipse, bro.
The eclipse. Yeah, the eclipse coming. Is the eclipse coming? Because
listen, bro. Listen.
I'm making sure.
Listen. I'm not throwing no shade. All I'm gonna say is a hit dog gonna holler. But I ain't. That's all. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, man, I was wrong. I was wrong on this team, and they played a very good, well-rounded game. Dylan Brooks had 29. Brad
Who cares? He not going to the playoffs.
Jalen Green had 21. You get 3 players off your bench in double figures as well, and like I said, when Kyrie and Luka is just going, like, got it rolling, like, you pretty much at that mercy at that point.
Now, if y'all recall, if y'all look at our Instagram, check us out at Before the Horn Podcast. I left Kyrie Irving out of my top 10 for point guards. And my reason was because of he was just, in my opinion, not inconsistent, but his, like, reliability. Now, when he's on the court, he's reliable. He's clearly shown that this year. And do I have regret for not putting him in my top 10? Of course I do. Of course I do. I told you I had him at 11.
A Jersey guy at that too.
I know, ain't from Jersey. Hey, Kyrie, I apologize. You had a great game in this game. You dropped 48. That was phenomenal. And counterpart Luka Doncic, he never disappoints. Again, in my opinion, Luka is top 5 in MVP voting. But this is a great game by the Mavs. Sadly for the Rockets, like Khalil said, after going on a long streak, they got bumped out of the playoffs with 5 straight losses. The Mavs are going to be a great team in the playoffs to watch. But again, we got to see how high the Dallas Mavericks ceilings is. We've seen them go to the conference finals before. But in my opinion, that's where I see their ceiling. It's conference finals. But who knows? If Kyrie and Luka keep doing this with some great supporting guys like PJ Washington, and when they get Derek Lively the second back, he's going to be great as well. So this is a well-rounded team. I love the way the team's going. Let's see if they can continue into the playoffs.
I mean, let's be honest for a second too. Like, this team is a way better team than that team that Luka went to the conference finals with. His counterpart in that realm was fucking Jalen Brunson. Now he got a Kyrie. I know, and no disrespect to Jalen Brunson, because he's been phenomenal this year. But the Jalen Brunson that we've seen this year is not the same Jalen Brunson from 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong, he was coming on, but he's not on Kyrie level. Like I said, if those 2 guys can get it rolling and the others can hit shots when needed, this team could be very dangerous, man.
Big facts. Like I said, we're going to take with Sunday's games. Let's talk about the New York Knicks knocking off the Milwaukee Bucks by 13. They defeated Milwaukee 122-109, led by Jalen Brunson's 43-piece.
Before I get into the New York Knicks and everything, what's going on with the Bucks, man? Like, what is really going on with the Bucks, man? And they have their moments. Don't get me wrong. They had their moments where they show why they could be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. But then they have moments like this when you lose to a New York team by 13. and you had Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the lineup. The team is relatively healthy within this game. You have all your key players there. When we talk about Giannis, Chris Middleton, even Portis, Crowder coming off the bench, you have all your key guys that's going to be playing key minutes. Connaughton, those are the main guys that's going to be playing major minutes come playoff time. And don't get me wrong, Bobby Portis had him a phenomenal game, giving 24 points off the bench. Chris Middleton is just not the same. He did lead the game.
No.
He did lead this game early. He only played 13 minutes. But that's going to be a major key is having those guys healthy. And we already have major question marks about the head coach. I mean, we talked about it when he first got the job. He
Doc
does
Rivers.
a lot of finger pointing. He does a lot of blaming, and it's very subtle. It's very, we gotta fix some things with the travel. Some things are off. Like this team is a very veteran team, so I don't think it gives me the young vibe. Or some teams, you have those certain teams where it's like, yeah, they all party. James Harden, Houston Rockets team, they was outside. Phoenix Suns, they outside. But like this don't give me that type of vibe with the Damian Lillard and a Giannis Antetokounmpo led team. Yeah, like this is championship or bust, and they just haven't looked good. Now on the other end, Jalen Brunson's been phenomenal. He's been one of the best players. He's going to make All NBA team, rightfully so, with what he's been doing. But he goes 48, 8-6 in this game. Not only that, you have Dante DiVincenzo chip in with 26. You have
Jersey.
Isaiah Hartenstein has a double-double, 18 and 10, and then you get 15 off your bench by Bojan Bogdanovic. So, and all that while being OG Anunoby not having the best game, shooting 2 for 10 from the field, with the news that Julius season, this is the team that you pretty much going to be rocking with for the playoffs. Do I think the Knicks in a 7-game series can beat the Bucks? No, I want to put my money on it. I'm being honest. I want to put my money on it. I would like the Bucks to win the series, but this Knicks team is dangerous, bro. This Knicks team is very dangerous, especially when Jalen Brunson got it rolling the way he did Sunday night.
I'm gonna start off with the New York Knicks. I'm gonna do the complete opposite you did. Jalen Brunson, great game. You've been killing this year. Definitely, if you don't get an All NBA spot, you're being robbed. Dante DiVincenzo, you've been a great contributor. Josh Hart, he's been good as well on defense. OG, I mean, hopefully he can have another better shooting game, but again, he's still familiarizing himself with his team. And the bench for the Knicks was on one, especially Bojan Bogdanovic with 15. The far as I see the Knicks go in the second round, so I'm done praising them. Let's go to Milwaukee Bucks. This team was supposed to be competing with the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference to see who's better. And it's outright been Boston, without a doubt. This Bucks team, they fired Adrian Griffith earlier in the year, and they bring in Doc Rivers. We all knew this was going to be a bad move. We said this on this podcast. Doc Rivers, in my opinion, and yes, I'm a Boston fan, Doc Rivers is one of the worst head coaches I've seen step on the hardwood. And as a player, I think he was not that good either. I don't care. With all due respect, he got a ring, but I don't care. No.
Let me just add him to the list right under Dylan.
Yeah, go ahead. Add him to the list because this is horrible. Why is this team that's bad? Like they're still a top team, but the Knicks are only one game behind them. What is going on in Milwaukee? And like you said, Khalil, I don't think they're joking around. They got Dame and Giannis. Bobby Portis is playing good as well. Chris Middleton, he's been a shell of himself lately, probably due to injuries, in my opinion. But this team is championship or bust. I think the worst mistake they made was firing Mike Budenholzer, in my opinion. I think he was unrightfully fired at the end of last year. Whatever happened already, but no, this Bucks team, that's it. Their ceiling's the conference finals, but it's actually even worrisome at this point right now.
Am I totally mad at the Mike Budenholzer? I guess not, just because
he should have been fired.
No, it's not. Sometimes you just need a new voice in the locker room, whatever the case may be. But for all the the things that was coming out in Milwaukee when Adrian Griffin was there, he was 30-13. He was 30-13. He was competing in the East with the Boston team. He was keeping pace with them. Well, was he going to? I don't think he was going to overcome Boston. Think about it. He was 30-13. Boston's 62-16 right now. Like, Boston's just on another level. But, like, Doc just hasn't been good. And it's not like we don't have the book out on what he is. He's a very underachieving coach. And we've seen it time and time again. From Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to Blake Griffin and Chris Paul to the big three. I'll call it the big four because don't get me wrong, Rondo was that dog too. And out of all that talent you got one ring. Like, he's an underachieving coach, and we know that. Like, if we're going into this expecting him to elevate this Milwaukee Bucks team to a championship.
You're
I'm
wrong.
sorry, you're sadly mistaken. We call
wrong.
him Game 7 Doc for a reason, and it's not a good reason.
Big facts. Couldn't said any better, Brody. All right, let's move on to the last game we're going to talk about for the segment around the Hardwood. As the Philadelphia 76ers, they are trying to fight and climb out of that play-in as they defeated the San Antonio Spurs in overtime, 133 to 126, led by Tyrese Maxey's 52 points.
Not gonna lie, I don't know how to feel about it. Because on one hand, you got the dub without Embiid, and you are playing without Embiid, rightfully so. So let's make that clear. Like, he was on the MVP pace, and no Tobias Harris as well. He didn't play either, but it's the worst team in the NBA, bro. Like, I really don't know what to like, because I'm not judging them on what they do here. I'm judging them about where do I see them being in 2 weeks from now. That's essentially what we're looking at when we're looking forward to these teams, right? Don't get me wrong. Tyrese Maxey put out 52 points on 41 shots, and they needed all 52 of them. Kelly Oubre also chipped in with 26. You really didn't get too much from Cameron Payne. He only played 19 minutes. He didn't play. He didn't really play that much. But Nick Batum only gave you 9 and 46 minutes and stuff like that. So you really you needed all 52 from Maxey to win this game. Wemby was phenomenal, 33, 18, and he also had 7 blocks. I mean, he's 7'4". Like, what are you gonna do at the end of the day? He's 7'4". You can't teach that.
He better be getting them goddamn blocks. 7 fucking free 4.
Yeah, so but like, he did also have 9 turnovers, which is not good for a guy who is not a point guard. Point guards are the ones that usually have the ball in their hands the most. But this is a big win for a Philly team that's trying to make a playoff push and trying to get out of that play-in, because right now they're in a play-in. They're in the 7th spot. They're a game behind Indiana for that 6th spot. And ideally, I think they want to avoid possibly losing to Miami, because right now you're gonna have Miami in the first round of that play-in. And it's kind of like you don't want to play Miami because you know what Miami could be when the chips are on the table, but at the same time, you also don't want Boston in the first round. And me personally, let me get Orlando. Orlando's sitting in that 3 spot, so you want to try to work your way out of the play-in to get to that 6th spot to get that 3 spot against Orlando. But at the same time, the way the Bucks are looking, the Bucks might not be a bad matchup. We get a series with Maxey and Embiid versus Giannis and Dame, and Doc facing his former team from just a year ago. I think that has a lot of storylines that could be a good matchup as well. But it's this Philly team, I don't think this year is their year. It's just too much adversity to overcome. So it is what it is, but I really don't see much from moving forward in the playoffs.
Let's be real. When is it ever Philly's year? Like, bro, we used to live near Philly. When is it ever Philadelphia's year? When was it ever their year? Let's be real. With basketball, for real. Even with football, any sport besides baseball and hockey. When was it ever their year? The Sixers are, no. Like, look, I'm impressed by this game. Good win. It went in overtime. Maxey dropped 52. They did without Embiid and Tobias. But like Khalil said, this is the worst team in NBA. And again, it's basketball. Any given day, anything can happen. But unless Sixers have Joel Embiid in 2 weeks for the playoffs, the Sixers will be a first-round exit. I don't care who they play. It could be Boston, Milwaukee, Orlando. I don't even care if it's Cleveland. They're not making out the first round. I'm sorry.
You think they lose to Orlando?
If Joel Embiid don't play?
I mean, I think Embiid would be there for that.
I hope so. They need him. They need him badly.
Do you think they could beat Orlando with Embiid? Like,
what? Oh my God, yes. And I'm not saying I'm a Joel Embiid fan, but you saw how excited I just got. You saw how excited I just got. Yes, they need him badly.
Hey, I ain't gonna count. I gotta go to one of those games, boy. I'm going to one of those games, boy.
Yeah, you better. You right there in Orlando.
I might be at game 1, boy. I don't know.
Maybe teed up.
Without me.
Teed up off Don Julio. You better be sitting right next to Diddy.
Watch out. No Diddy game. We ain't on that.
Nah, but this is just a Sixers team that I honestly have concerns about. All in all, though, good win by Philadelphia. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for that segment around the Hardwood. Give us your thoughts and opinions about the games we covered Leave it all in the comment section below. Again, playoffs are starting soon. It's getting crunch time. And again, give us your thoughts and opinions about the games we talked about in the comment section below. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to move into the next segment, women's college basketball. As you know, we had the Final Four occur on Friday, and then on Sunday we had a championship game. This Friday, let's kick it off with South Carolina. Dominant win over North Carolina State, 78-59 to move on to the championship. Let's talk about that real quick.
They went out there and did what they had to do. Don't get me wrong. North Carolina State had them a good run in this first round of the tournament. I mean, well, throughout this tournament to make it to the Final Four. But they ran up against a juggernaut of a team in South Carolina. Camila Cardoza, double, 22 and 11. You had Raven Johnson chipping with 13. Powell also had 10. But you get the scoring from everywhere. I mean, you got 8 from Ashlyn Watkins off the bench. You got Tessin Johnson with 9. You got Malaysia Fowali with 7. And this team is just so deep, and they're just a so much better team than that NC State team out there. Don't get me wrong. You did get 20 points from Isaiah Johnson. You did get 12 from Jersey's own Zoe Brooks off the bench, and as well as River Baldwin chipped in with 12 as well. But it's just not enough against a team like this, like as good as this team. Like I didn't feel like North Carolina State really stood a chance, and South Carolina did what they did to most other teams in the tournament so far. So, big win by them.
Now, going into this game, we both knew South Carolina State was going to strangle NC State. Again, though, it's March Madness. Anything can happen, but I just didn't see it. The South Carolina team is just really that good, and especially against the North Carolina State team was good, but not as good as SC. Again, Khalil talked about all the great players that South Carolina has, and Dawn Staley coached a hell of a game. But honestly, there's nothing really to talk about this game. It's just a blowout win by South Carolina. Now let's move into the next game, which had a very controversial ending, as the Iowa Hawkeyes defeated the UConn Huskies 71-69 with a critical offensive foul called on UConn to give Iowa the win.
Oh, this game had me so freaking heated.
We know.
I do not care. Pause. I don't want to hear from you yet. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. But I will say this. What the hell was that? You do not call that call at that point in the game. And I get it. When everybody, I don't care who you are. When you watched it, nobody's seen it. On a replay, cool. Okay, I guess you can call it on a replay. But you don't call that there with the game on the line and Paige Becker is getting the ball in her hands. You let the players decide the game. And sadly, it wasn't. And that's what pissed me off the most. It's just that we couldn't get the finish that we wanted to see. Does Paige Beckers hit the shot to send the UConn Huskies to the national championship? We may never know. Good thing is Paige Beckers has another year. As for this Iowa team, they found a way to pull it out. Caitlin Clark did not have her best game shooting. 7 from 18, 3 from 11 from the 3. But she did have 7 assists and 9 rebounds. She does it all. Also chipping with 20 points. A big game from Hannah Stokely. She's somebody who's gotten better over the course of these past few seasons.
Stokely's nice.
Yeah, Stokely and Kate Martin as well chipped in with 11 as well. Much needed points. But I'm sorry, this game should not have came down. Should not have had the finish that it had. And I was absolutely heated by y'all. You could go.
Besides the Elite 8 matchup with LSU and Iowa, this, in my opinion, was probably the second best game we saw in this tournament. It really came down to the ending because Iowa let them back in the game towards the end when Caitlin Clark missed free throws. I'm like, bruh, do y'all want to win or not? Now, Caitlin Clark, her shooting was very off that game. And Paige Beckers, she had an okay game shooting. This is a great back and forth game, especially in the fourth quarter. And I was thinking like, okay, this game could go 2 ways. And we see it. I called it on Friday. I said it's going to be a game-deciding 2-point game. And that's exactly what happened. Now, when the foul was initially called on Edwards, I was like, wow, okay. When I looked at it again, I was like, oh, yeah, that most definitely was a foul. And you can say this either way. Hold on. You can say this either way. Khalil is right. In some instances, you have to let the players decide the game. In that moment, as a fan, I would not want that foul call. But rules are rules. That was a foul.
It wasn't that egregious. It wasn't egregious enough to get called.
But her feet were not set. Her feet were not set, and she leaned her shoulder out.
Yes. Well, we've seen worse stuff not called.
Okay, and we've seen stuff called, just like in the Super Bowl when James Bradbury got called for freaking holding. He was
He was
hyped
holding.
about that. He
He
was
was
hyped about
holding.
that.
It
Okay,
was a
but that
hold.
okay, that was holding, but that wasn't an offensive foul. Just say you hate the Eagles. Please just say you hate the Eagles.
No, James Bradbury is fucking trash.
He right, he is trash. Don't talk about James Bradbury, man. Please don't make me cry right now. Please, I don't want to talk about that game. Back to Iowa and UConn. But you are correct, Khalil. The game shouldn't be decided by a iffy call like that, but it is the right call. Now, Khalil was so angry at the result of this game. I was laughing. You know, I decided to get a little greedy. I was like, you know what? Since you're so angry, Khalil, I'm not putting no screenshots up. I'm not putting no screenshots on the screen.
My boy was he duggy. My boy was smelling himself. Let the people know what happened. Let the people know what happened.
Ooh. I said, ooh, Khalil, guess what? I'm about to come up off you. I'm about to take your lunch money. I said, damn, Khalil, you so angry. He was like, man, F Caitlin Clark. He said, South Carolina going to dog them on Sunday. He said, Dawn, you ain't shit. You know that call was bullshit. I said, bro, listen, if you don't think, I said, bro, Iowa's going to win a championship. Like I said it on podcast, episode 56. I said, bro, I got money on, I said, put $25 on South Carolina then. He said, bet, say less. I'm like, man, I said, I'm about to get some lunch money off this motherfucker. Well, guess what? I was wrong.
For lunch. Thank you for lunch today. I actually used that for lunch. Thank you for that.
Forget you, bro.
Let's dive into it.
Yeah, we saw the South Carolina Gamecocks defeat the Iowa Hawkeyes 87-75, led by Camila Cardoso. Dawn Staley has achieved her third national championship.
And before I get into like what this game really happened, people would have like what was going on my phone on a Sunday afternoon. What was going on?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen. When Iowa got to a fast start, they was up big already off the first. Y'all know what I'm talking about if y'all watch the game. Iowa got out hot, and I was like, ooh, I was like, Khalil, I was like, ooh, let's go Iowa, let's go Iowa. I sent the Caitlin Clark gift when she was doing a little John Cena, you can't see me. I was talking crazy, and Khalil was like, bro, it's 3 quarters left. Like, why are you so hyped?
Nah, that's not what I did. That's not what I did. What did I do? What did I text back?
I'm not giving it to you. Yeah, whatever.
I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't care. Because this is what happens. This is what happens. And this is what made it feel so good. This is what made the win feel so good. Because
BS.
That he had confidence. It was 15-2. 15-2. They got
out
hyped. A blazing start.
I was talking so much shit.
Talking crazy. Wasn't word. We're cool, calm, and collected. This is the best team in basketball. They're going to figure it out. And they got the best coach in basketball right now, in Dawn Staley. And did Dawn Staley call a timeout? No. She said, y'all better figure it out. Y'all got yourself in there. Y'all better get yourself out. Y'all know what y'all need to do. We've been, and the thing is, they've been studying this team since Tuesday. Dawn Staley came out and said, we've been scouting this team since Tuesday. They knew what they wanted to do. And I got to start off by giving my kudos to Raven Johnson.
She played a hell of a defensive game.
Comes out, scored 18 points in the first quarter. Raven Johnson switches onto her from the second quarter to the rest of the game, and she only scores 12 points. And it was a revenge tour for Raven Johnson. And I'm happy you got your revenge, you got your lick back, because everybody was talking about you last year when Caitlin Clark was over there. Let her shoot it.
Let her shoot.
I'm about to go get this rebound. Shoot it. Like, and she said she had to work on it. She thought about quitting basketball at a point, but she stayed with it. From Dawn Staley to the people around her, Camila Cardoso, her and Camila Cardoso are very close, and they kept her going. And she was on a revenge tour, and she wanted to get her get back, and she got her get back. Camila Cardoso. I mean, what can we talk about? She's 15 for 17, 8 offensive boards, and the South Carolina team out rebounded this Iowa team 51-29. And you're just not going to win many basketball games like that. With the size that they got over there, Chloe Clark is a big girl as well. She's from out here, from where I live at. She's from Oviedo, Florida. She also chipped in with 10 rebounds and 11 points. But Tessa Johnson off the bench hitting big shot was the player to lead them in this game, going 7 for 11, 3 for 6. Anytime they needed a shot, they made it. and it came down to a point where this team was operating on such a good level from like the 5-minute point of the first quarter to the end of the game, where I've seen them chisel down at that lead to the point by the second half, Caitlin Clark is out there forcing shots, taking ill-advised shots, and I knew this game was over when Caitlin Clark passed the outlet pass to Hannah Stokely and she smoked the layup. I said, yeah, this game is over. South Carolina is going to control this game from the rest of this game, and this game is over. And South Carolina went out there and did what they had to do.
I can't believe I paid for your lunch today. I was so angry at this game.
It was so good too.
Shut up.
It made me actually fall asleep in the car after.
I should call your boss. I ain't a snitch. Anyway, Caitlin Clark, I love you. Like you are one of the best collegiate players I've seen of all time. And we've seen some hitters come through the NCAA. But this is 2 years in a row. You fold, in my opinion, on the national stage. You had 18 in the first quarter. You ended off the game with 30. The second, third, and fourth quarter was not that good. You shot a couple points from the free throw line. And Raven Johnson, she played great defense from you. Like Raven Johnson leader was just like this. Hand in the face with the defense. No arms out. One hand out. Hand in the face. Taking her cookies. Taking cookies from her mitt and everything. I'm like, dog. And you're right. They started forcing shots. Iowa got out their game. Linda Bolden, it did not look good in the second half. She was not happy with her women's team. Hannah Stokely, you could see at some point Camila Cardoso started having her way, especially with the rebounds. She had 17 rebounds and 15 points. Like Khalil also mentioned, Tessa Johnson's 19 off the bench. Khalil said this was a resilient team led by head coach Dawn Staley. They got themselves in a hole early, but they got out. They got forced her the other way. They know her spot. They know where she likes to shoot from, and they forced her the other way. I give huge props to Raven Johnson. She had a great game, but this is just an awesome second half splurge by the South Carolina Gamecocks to get their third national title.
I would say this. They had the game plan on. The game plan was to force her right.
Yeah.
She wanted to get back to her left to get the three ball off. And try to force her to drive right and be a playmaker. And, that kind of forced her out of game and against for what she wanted to do. But we got to talk about it because you were hinting at the fact that she was the GOAT of college basketball after this season and based on the career that she put together. But does her resume now take a hit given the fact that she leaves college without a national title?
Great minds think alike. Khalil was going to ask you that question, but you beat me to it. I hate you sometimes when you do that. I hate when you do that. I'm like, bro, I was just about to ask you that same question, just different words, but I'll just answer it right now, and I'll let you answer your own question afterwards. Her resume, in a way, does take a hit because, again, now you are now 0-2 in national championship. You leave the NCAA with no title, but you're the all-time leader in points. You broke many conference records. You broke many collegiate records. You broke many March Madness records. You broke a lot. Caitlin Clark has achieved a lot except for winning a national championship. She was the AP Player of the Year. Obviously, all Big Ten unanimously. Player of the Year, All-American. She did all that. She has so many accolades except for a national championship. She's 0-2. And I feel like in the last 2 years, and the national championship, last year against LSU, this year against South Carolina, they took her out of her game. She got off to a good start early, but then afterwards, it just kind of faded away. We've seen it 2 years in a row. It makes you think, does that not make her the GOAT of college basketball? And that's very debatable. Her resume does take a hit for leaving college basketball without a national championship under her belt.
Yeah, it does. When you look at it, and we can compare her to the Breonna Stewarts, the Maya Morris, if you want to go back to Sher Muller, Sher Swoops, and all the greats that have been through this game, up and down this game, who's built the game from even Dawn Staley, who's a 2-time Player of the Year, National Player of the Year as well. She has a ring as a player and a coach now, 3 rings as a coach, and she's one of the ones that built this basketball game. And for all the accolades that Caitlin Clark has put together, she does take a hit. I'm sorry. And I get it. When you look at her resume, she beat an undefeated South Carolina team to get to the national championship. That's a lot. Because if she didn't win that, who knows? If LSU wins the national championship, and we could be talking about a team that's 80-0, but Caitlin Clark stopped her in her tracks. But at the same time, and I get it, you did not have the best team out there. Let's be real. The only person I can see having a chance at making a W at some point is probably Hannah Stokely. I like the way she's been developing from last year to this year. I think, the more and more she develops, the better she gets. I think she'd be more prepared to play. But yeah, man, I just can't, bro. When you look at like players like Breonna Stewart record, and don't get me wrong, UConn was a juggernaut.
They
But she only
was.
lost one game in college, 4 national championships, 3-time player of the
Jeez.
year. Like when we look at
Yeah.
teams like that, like it's just hard to defend. And like,
Yeah.
and I get it. You could argue, oh, look at the team that she had, because at the end of the day, this is team sport and this stuff like that. But that's kind of what you sacrifice, though. Like you feel where I'm coming from. Like we see a lot of good players put up, good stats, but never win. And there's a reason why they're not in the conversation. Give it the good stats that they put up. They haven't really won anything. So, like, we talk about it with Aaron Rodgers all the time. If you want to go to football, he got MVPs the whole 9 yards. He got
That's
one
literally a
ring.
perfect
We
example.
we we
Perfect
talk we talk
example.
we talk
James
about
Harden.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton
Peyton Manning
Manning.
wasn't James Harden. Like, there's a lot of players who has the numbers to back by anybody. But when we talk about GOATs, who we talk about? If we want to go football, it's Tom Brady because of the
Tom
rings,
Brady.
right? Or it was Joe Montana before that because of the 4 rings. You want to go to basketball, and when we talked about the Jordan and LeBron debate, the reason why a lot of people put Jordan over LeBron is because of the rings. Like, at the end of the day, the rings does matter at a certain point. Don't get me wrong, she has been monumental for the game and
Most
building
def.
this game. And honestly, she's had me watching women's college basketball more than I've ever watched women's
That's a
college
fact.
basketball. I don't
She's
really
done it for
watch
all
the
of the whole world.
WNBA.
The whole world. The whole world.
I don't really watch the WNBA, but I will be tuned
I
into
will
some
now.
of them Indiana
I'm tuned in
fever
heavy
games.
now.
Las Vegas Aces already upgraded their stadium from a 12-seat stadium to a 12,000-seat stadium to a 20,000-seat stadium for the Indiana favor game. The Phoenix Mercury is already advertising the GOAT versus the Rook, and she hasn't even gotten drafted yet. And these teams are already, the W is already trying to market her, and these teams are trying to market her. So I'm gonna give her credit for how she grew the game. Not only her, Paige Beckers, Andrew Reese, Camila Cardozo, all these women who are leaving the game and passing the torch along to the Juju Watkins and the Flaw J. Johnsons and the Hannah. I don't know how to say
Stokey.
her last name. Not Stokey. Hannah from Notre Dame. I don't know how to say her last name. It's like
Oh,
Hidalgo. Hannah
yeah,
Hidalgo.
Hidalgo.
Yeah, like she passed the torch on to them, and now it's her turn to grow the game in the WNBA. And who knows what can happen. Next thing you know, the WNBA is something that a lot more people are going to be watching because of Caitlin Clark. So I got to give her respect there. But as far as a GOAT conversation without a ring, I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give us your thoughts and opinions about the women's Final Four matchups and the women's national championship. How do you guys feel about that controversial call between UConn and Iowa? Was it justified or was it incorrect? And the refs should have let the players decide the game. Also, how do you feel about South Carolina blowing out Iowa national championship to get their 3rd national title? Do you feel like Caitlin Clark resume takes a hit or not? Also, let me know how you guys feel about women's basketball moving forward. Do you guys think it will keep going in the right direction, or will it go back down in the bad places where it's been before? Leave that all in the comment section below. All right, sticking with women's college basketball, I got a question to ask you guys. Where do you guys rank Dawn Staley amongst all women college coaches of all time? Dawn Staley from Philly, we got to represent her. After this win, again, she's a very resilient head coach, great leader. She has her team always in the right direction. If Caitlin Clark wasn't there to knock South Carolina off 2022-2023 season, we might be talking about a different record for South Carolina. They just actually might be undefeated still at this moment, because they went on a run last year and they went on a run this year. The runs have been crazy, and they lost mad starters to the WNBA draft last year, and Dawn Staley gets his team to the national championship the year after. That is freaking phenomenal. If you don't think it's phenomenal, you're just absolutely a hater. I'm sorry, with all due respect. Dawn Staley is one of the best coaches I've ever seen. She's a great player back then. She definitely transitioned that into being a great head coach. She has her women's team always on the right track. They're great all-around players. She has young players like Camila Cardoso, Taina Powell, Raven Johnson, Tessa Johnson, Watkins, Kids. Like, this is a great team. And like I said before, they lost 5 starters to the draft, but they didn't rebuild. They just reloaded and next man up mentality. Out of all the women's head coaches of all time, I'm going to say she ranks at least 3rd, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
So like as you mentioned, like they lost all 5 of their starters, and not only did they, bring in more young freshmen to to back up, but those players that was coming off the bench and Raven Johnson and Camila Cardoza, they got inserted to the starting lineup and took right off, and they didn't miss a beat. Not only did they miss a beat, they go undefeated. And when we talk about Dawn Staley and the resume that she's putting together at this point as a coach, she's a 3-time national championship. She's been to the Final Four 6 times, 8-time SEC championship, 4-time Naismith Coach of the Year, 3 in a row. Her resume as of recent has been second to none. When you want to look at what she's done in the past just few years of like coaching, tremendous. Since the 2019-20 season, she's 31. She's 32-1, and I think that team could have won a national championship.
They could have. They really could have.
If it wasn't for COVID, then you come back the next year, have a sort of a what you want to call a down year, and when you lose in the Final Four. When you lose in the Final Four and you go 26-5, then you come back the next year, go 35-2, win the national championship. Year after that, 36-1, lose in the Final Four, then come back 38-0 to sweep and win a national championship. She is second to none. Her coaching record at South Carolina is 440 and 106.
That's nuts.
That's a percentage of that's a winning percentage of 806. That's insane. She's on an insane run right now. She is knocking at the door with some of the greats. She's won championship behind Kim Mulkey. I think she ends up catching Kim Mulkey, and then the only people you're looking up to from that point on is Gino Auriemma and Pat Summitt. Auriemma, he set the bar way too high. He set the 11. Bar high. He's at 11. Summitt's at 8. You know, that's who you're looking up to after you pass Kim Mulkey, and I think she's going to catch Kim Mulkey. I believe so. She's going to catch Kim Mulkey.
She's going to catch Kim Mulkey
for sure. The amount of teams that she's been playing on, I think she's already top 5. She's, in my opinion, she's on the Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore only has 4 heads on it. It's going to be Auriemma.
I said she's top 3.
Auriemma, Summitt, Mulkey, and Staley.
I agree.
That's the echelon that she's put herself into. And not only that, she's been growing the game since she was a player and has done nothing but grow the game even more and empower the women that she's had come through her program. And the one thing that I really do love about Dawn Staley and that the way she coached, they play and fight for one another, and they're just so together. And that starts from Dawn Staley. And if you watch the national championship game, you've seen it. You know, most coaches, when a team go on a run like that, what's the first thing you got to do? Call a timeout.
Call a timeout. Substitute players. Staley, yell at players in the huddle.
Yeah, Dawn Staley. She kind of remind me like of a mom. Like she give you that look.
I was about to say a mom. Because she's like a mom. She's like this.
Yeah, she give you that look, and you just know to tighten up. And like, you know, they call her Louis Vuitton Dawn for a reason. She stayed with that Louis V. I ain't gonna cap. That jacket was clean. I'm not gonna lie. But
hey, I ain't gonna lie. If you need sugar baby Dawn Staley, I'm just saying, hey, I'm got a family to feed over here. Feel me? Like, hey.
Man, Adam Park, yeah, I swear to God. But nah, if I'm South Carolina, I'm backing up the Brinks truck, and I get it. She just got paid again, but I'm backing up the Brinks truck again because I'm gonna be honest. Like I seen reports that said, you know, the Hornets should take a stab at her. Do I think I see a woman coaching, you know, NBA basketball at this point? No,
probably not. But it's possible. The way everything has been going in this world right now, I could see it, and I don't think it would be that bad. It's getting there.
I can see Dawn Staley being the first, but I think she just has a couple more things to hit, especially, you know, with Kim Mulkey being in her conference and at LSU. I think, you know, to beat her a couple more times, to win a couple championships, and to win another natty or two, to set herself up, you know, to, like I said, being that extra upper echelon behind Summitt and Auriemma, like that's unknown stratosphere, and I think that's what she had at this point.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, give us your thoughts and opinions about head coach Dawn Staley. Where do you guys think she ranks amongst all time of women's head coaches in the National College Athletic Association? Do y'all think she can catch Dawn Mulkey or not? Do y'all think she can catch Pat Summitt with her 8 titles? Let us know. If y'all don't think she ranks within top 5, what do y'all honestly rank Dawn Staley? We want to hear all that in the comment section below. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving to the last topic of the night. We're going to move over to men's college basketball. We're not here to talk about any highlights or any recaps of any game. We're here to talk about longtime Kentucky head coach John Calipari. He is now leaving the Kentucky Wildcats after many years to join another SEC team as he is joining the Arkansas Razorbacks with a 5-year deal. Bruh, who saw this coming? How do you feel about this? Moving from one SEC team to another. This is all I'm going to say. And this is going to be a great comparison. Love Coach Calipari, with all due respect. But I'm not going to say you a snake for this. I'm not going to say you know KD type shit. But I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I say you're not.
Whoa.
I said I'm not going to say that. I said I'm not going to say that. But a great comparison I got for Calipari is he's a Doc Rivers of men's college basketball. This man has one national championship. He's had some loaded teams. He's had some loaded teams. Do you want me to list some players that played under Coach Calipari? Because I could definitely do it. Anthony Davis, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Maxey. Do you want me to keep going? Jamal Murray. Do you want me to keep going? Those are great players. De'Aaron Fox.
Julius Randle.
Come on, Julius Randle. John Randle. Yeah, come on. Like, do y'all want me to keep going? This man has underachieved so much in his college head coaching career. Kentucky was a first-round exit this year. Didn't they lose to freaking Oakland in the first round?
Oakland.
Yeah, they lost to Oakland in the first round. I'm like, bro, and we talk about Kentucky. We talk about that game on our podcast. He is underachieving. This team, this team has not been the same in years. As much talent as they have had, they have not been the same. I figure he's gonna get fired, but they have been letting him stay and be a head coach. But he's a Doc Rivers of men's college basketball. He only has one ring, just like Doc Rivers. He's had so much talent, just like Doc Rivers, and he just can't get it together. He can't get it together. He can't win when it matters. He's been disappointing. And honestly, going to Arkansas, hey, they got some talent over there. They got some hoopers over there. It's gonna be not really gonna be a rebuild, but they're gonna be competing. But hey, Arkansas, if I'm you, I'm not really too stoked about this signing.
So I'm gonna take this a couple of different angles.
Let's
Pause. I said I'm gonna take it a couple of different angles, bro.
Bro,
how is that crazy?
You gonna take it a couple of different angles?
Nice.
You gonna take it a couple of different angles? Your leg gonna be up?
Bro.
Yo, bro. You need to stop hanging around Diddy, bro. You need to stop hanging around Diddy for real, bro. I'm getting kind of concerned.
Watch out, bro. But as you mentioned, Coach Cal, in 15 seasons at Kentucky, won national championship.
That's putrid.
It's putrid. As you had 35 first-round picks. Next closest is Duke with 27. You haven't been to a Final Four since 2015. Since Karl Anthony Towns was there.
Exactly. That's almost 10 years.
Since Karl Anthony Towns. Since 2015, this is what he has done since 2015. Out and around the 32. Out in the Elite 8. Out Sweet 16. Out Elite 8. COVID. Missed the tournament. Out in the first round. Out in the second round. Out in the first round. That's pitiful.
Like, how do you get this deal with Arkansas? I just don't get it.
Well, here's my thing. I'm paying you $8.5 million. Not to get guys to the NBA. I get it. You want to set up your guys for success. I get it. But if I'm a Kentucky fan, I don't care about that. I need a chip.
I want to win.
I need a chip. We've seen Duke don't win a chip since they won a chip. We've seen North Carolina won multiple chips since they won a chip. We've seen Kansas win a chip. We've seen UConn win a chip. And you have nothing to show for it besides one ring with all the talent that, they want to only listed probably 10 players. Not to mention the high quality.
Much more.
The high quality college players that you did have. You had a Willie Cauley-Stein. You had the Harrison twins. You had a Tyler Ulis. So you had guys that was making plays for you in college who stayed. So I get it. You integrated the one and done model. You was the one who brought it into college. But at the end of the day, I'm not paying you to get guys today. I'm paying you to win me a national championship, and you couldn't do that for me. So if I'm Kentucky, I'm not mad. I'm not sad because a lot of people were talking about they should move on from Coach Calipari after the season that they just had. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them people. I was one of them people. I'm not gonna lie, but if you listen to the press conference when Kentucky and John Calipari had the press conference, they said they were going to do it for one more year. But it sounded like, them relationships when you kind of want to break up, but y'all still living together. So like neither one of y'all can afford to move out. Y'all don't know how y'all can split it. Y'all really can't live alone by yourselves yet. Y'all don't have enough financially. So y'all stay together. That was Kentucky because they didn't want to pay $33 million to get out of this contract. That's what the buyout was, $33 million. Not only are you going to have to pay $33 million to John Calipari, you're going to have to turn around and pay another head coach. And I'm sorry, I can find me another head coach that could get me a first-round exit. That's not the problem. Like that, and that's the thing. Like I've been hearing people talk about, oh, they got rid of him, but there's not that many coaches left to replace him. Replace what? Replace what?
Ain't replacing nothing.
One championship? That's
one
not
chip.
the standard at Kentucky. That's not why they're called a blue blood. From Rupp, who won multiple championships. You got Tubby Smith, who they did not like, who 8 years gave him one chip and they ran him up out of
They ran him out the door.
They ran him up out the door. And this is a blue blood. Blue blood doesn't set nothing less than a championship, let alone making it to the Final Four. You know how embarrassing it is if I'm a Kentucky fan and in the last 4 years, the furthest we made it was the round of 32.
That's crazy.
St. Peter's has made it further than us. Guess why? Because they beat y'all. St. Peter's has made it further because y'all lost to them. Y'all lost to an Oakland team that had no business doing what they did to y'all.
Being there, yeah.
No business doing what they did to y'all. Like that's pitiful. That's horrible. Bro, y'all haven't made it to the second weekend. Bro. Like, think about that, bro. And it's supposed to be one of the premier programs. You can't say you're up there with teams like that when you cannot make it far as freaking NC State. Anybody could have we done seen miracle runs happen with teams making to the Elite Eight on accident.
UMBC.
You're recruiting. I think he had 8 number 1 classes.
He had plenty.
This is the further you go getting me with NBA talent spewed up and down your roster. This is just pitiful. I'm sorry. It's just pitiful. And hopefully he could do something at Arkansas. Arkansas is throwing that bag $5 million of NIL money to go out and recruit and get players. So hopefully they do something with that. But based on what he's giving me, like you said it best, bro. He's the Doc Rivers of college right now, bro, and that's not a good thing.
That's a fact. Yeah, they're gonna be trash next year anyway. I don't care. I mean, they got some balls over there, but I'm not really too happy about this.
We don't even know who's
Arkansas.
gonna be there. Some of them are already into the portal, like Khalif Battle been into the portal and stuff like that.
Yeah, Khalif Battle out of here.
We got to see who he brings in, and that's still not guaranteed because we done seen him, like I just said, bringing number 1 classes and not get anything. And think about it, bro. We say Coach K had underachieved when he had RJ Barrett and Zion and all these other players. But even though he hasn't won a national championship since 2015, he was just in the Final Four his last year with Paolo Banchero. He's brought in teams that far, bro. Like, you not making it past the second weekend of the tournament. You're not making it to the second weekend of the tournament the past few years, given the COVID year. Since the COVID year, he has not made it past the second weekend. And for that, like, I can find any coach to not make it to the second to get us a spot in the tournament.
Easy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's your thoughts and opinions about Coach Calipari leaving Kentucky to go to the Arkansas Razorbacks. How y'all feel about this? Do y'all think this is a good deal? Who lost this, Kentucky or Arkansas? Also, how you guys feel about Coach Calipari? Do y'all feel like he's one of the most underachieving head coaches in college basketball? We want to hear all that in the comment section below. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it tonight for episode 57 of Before the Horn podcast. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the support we've been getting. Make sure y'all stay locked in, stay tapped in. We can't thank y'all anymore. Also, make sure y'all check out our Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you guys can help us out and support us. Also, Patreon gives y'all great access to be a potential guest on here. Give us topics for us to talk about. Also, any merchandise that we drop, you'll be the first one to know about it. Patreon has a lot of perks. You can find all that out by clicking the link in the description box and sign up for as little as $2 a month, like I said earlier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at Before the Horn Podcast, TikTok and Twitter at Before the Horn Pod. We appreciate all the love and support that we be getting. Make sure you guys share this to your people, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your cousins, your uncle, everybody that you know. We appreciate all the love, support, feedback, everything that, has been coming our way, positive and negative. Like I said, we've been working on a lot of things. We're not probably going to roll anything too crazy out to you yet. We're probably going to wait till the second season before we roll anything out. But just know we got a couple things that's been in the works that's going to pop off beginning of the second season. That's going to pop off at the beginning of August. So in the meantime, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. Be tuned in for the next one.
Hey, y'all heard the man. Do all that. We shall see you guys on the next episode of Before the Horn podcast. Peace.